Hello, mighty companion. This is Earl Purdy here on Facebook Live. And we're going to be doing a course in miracles. And I'm excited. And we're going to talk about today your innocence, how to get rid of guilt, and how the true way you would dispel any guilt that will come up about anything that you've done in the past. I'm Earl Purdy, and we're going to start out with a song by Brother John Christmas at www.johnchristmas.com, and it's about you and how sinless and innocent you are. Here we go. Lord have mercy. Are you ready? Take a breath. Take a breath. Let it in. Take a breath. Let it in. And listen.
You are sinless. You are sinless. You are a child of God. You are sinless. You are sinless. Loves you like you are. Your invulnerability was your father's guarantee that you would forever be completely free. You are guiltless, you are guiltless, you are a child of God. You are guiltless, you are guiltless, loves you as you are. Your invulnerability was your father's guarantee that you would forever be completely free. But you keep on singing, yes you keep on singing, yes you keep on singing the blues. Stop singing. You're gonna stop singing. It's time for you to learn. You have nothing to lose.
I'm Earl Purdy. I want to welcome you to A Course in Miracles here on Facebook Live. We're going to talk about how do you dispel guilt. We're going to talk about you as the innocent, guiltless child of God. If you want to hear something positive and loving about yourself, and you want to learn how to dispel any kind of guilt and learn the lesson and go beyond it, we're going to talk about that in this presentation. It's going to be on page 239. Page 239. Page 239 in the Course in Miracles text, the Foundation for Inner Peace version. It's going to be on page 239, and we're going to start out with paragraph 10 that starts with, you cannot dispel guilt by making it real. But you keep on singing. But you keep on singing. But you keep on singing the blues. It's time for you to quit singing. It's time for you to quit singing. It's time for you to learn you have nothing to lose. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you're going to find hard to believe. Some of the ideas may seem to be quite startling. You are not being asked to analyze and evaluate and judge the ideas at all. They're Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Using the ideas, not analyzing the ideas, remembering the ideas, not forgetting the ideas. That's how the Course in Miracles works. It doesn't work through sitting around and analyzing the ideas. It's not going to happen by analyzing the Course. You have to remember the instructions from the Course, and you use the instructions from the Course. It's talking about how do you let go of the blocks to love and happiness. How do you let go of the blocks? How do you let go of the blocks? It teaches you how to let go of the blocks to your happiness and your peace. But you have to be willing to listen, 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 listen. And remember, what you know may not be all there is to know. The Course in Miracles says, what you know may not be all there is to know. That's all you need to remember. It's what you know may not be all there is to know. That's all you need to remember. What you know may not be all there is to know. So then open your minds. I'm the divine repetition teacher. I'm the divine remembering teacher. My goal is to help you hear the Course in Miracles in plain language. Just hear what it's saying. I'm not trying to convince you or convert you. I want to deliver a message. We're going to start in chapter 13, section 1, paragraph 10, in A Course in Miracles text, Foundation for Inner Peace version. I'm going to ask you something. Are you aware? Thank you for the Happy Father Days wishes. Do you know that you cannot dispel guilt by making it real? You can't get rid of your guilt about anything by making it real. You cannot dispel guilt by making the guilt real. You cannot dispel guilt by making the guilt real and then atoning for the guilt. Do you hear me now? You cannot get rid of any guilt by, first of all, making the guilt real and then thinking that you're going to atone for the guilt that you believe is real. Making your guilt real and then trying to atone for that guilt, that is the ego's plan. That is the plan of your false self. That is the plan of the part of your mind that believes that you are guilty. The ego. The ego is the part of your mind that thinks that you are separate. It's the part of your mind that thinks that you are a body. The ego is the part of your mind that believes in fear and anger and sickness and lack. The Course in Miracles calls the ego the fearful voice in your own mind. So the ego is the part of you that you taught not to love yourself. It's the part of you that may feel insecure, the part of you that feels inadequate. The Course in Miracles calls that the ego. The wrong mind, wrong-mindedness. The Course in Miracles defines as the ego. So what is the wrong plan? The wrong plan is to make your mistakes, your guilt real, and then try to make up for it. That's the wrong plan. This plan of making your guilt real and then trying to dispel it, that is the plan the guilt in your mind is offering you instead of getting rid of your guilt. There is a fearful, insecure part of the mind called the ego that believes in atonement, but it believes in atonement through attack and punishment. There's a part of your mind that believes that you should be punished for your guilt. There's a part of the mind that believes that you deserve to be punished for the thing you feel guilty about. Do you know there's a part of your mind that believes that you deserve to be punished for the thing you feel guilty about? There's a part of your mind called the ego, the part of your mind that believes in guilt, the part of your mind that may believe in sin, if you learn that in your early religious training. That part of your mind, the ego, is fully committed. So there's a fearful, guilty part of the mind that is fully committed to the insane notion that attack and punishment is going to heal you. There's a part of the mind that believes that you're guilty. There is a part of the mind that believes that you need to be punished for anything that you feel guilty about. There's a part of the mind that is fully committed to the idea that punishment is correction, that the way that you correct something is you are punished for what you do. The thing that you feel guilty about, there's a part of the mind that believes that you deserve to be punished for whatever you feel guilty about. The Course in Miracles says that's the ego's plan. That's the false plan. And how do you know if you believe in the false plan, which says you deserve to be punished for the things you feel guilty about? Well, you know you cherish that false plan if you are a person who still cherishes guilt. So what does that mean, to still cherish guilt? It means that there's a part of you, that would be a part of you that would really want to see other people as guilty. And that would be the part of you that wanted to see yourself as guilty. So if you have a part of your mind that loves to see other people as guilty, if you have a part of your mind that condemns other people, then you are a person, according to A Course in Miracles, you are a person that cherishes guilt. So a person who cherishes guilt is a person who cherishes pain, is a person who cherishes punishment, is a person that cherishes guilt. A person that cherishes guilt is a person that believes that they deserve to be punished for the thing that they feel guilty about. A person who cherishes guilt is a person who cherishes seeing guilt in other people and condemning other people and believing that other people need to be punished. That is the person that cherishes guilt. And do you know that the person who cherishes guilt is requesting punishment and pain and sickness and lack to come to themselves? Are you aware that the person that cherishes condemning other people and seeing guilt in other people and seeing guilt in themselves, this is a person that wants to be punished? They may not know it, but that's why they go through lack, sickness, loneliness, unhappiness, pain. It comes from an unconscious belief and cherish of guilt, according to A Course in Miracles. How but by identifying with your own guilt, your own ego, could you hold dear guilt that you say you don't want? What does that mean? If you want to defend the idea of guilt, then you are identifying with the part of your mind that believes in guilt and believes that you are guilty. That's called the ego. And if you defend the idea of condemning someone else or believing that you need to be punished for something you've done, you are identifying with the part of your own mind that wants to punish you. Whew. There is a part of your mind called the ego that teaches you that you should attack yourself, that you should punish yourself because you are guilty. That's the ego. The ego is a part of your own mind that thinks that you should be punished because you are guilty, because you are bad. Whenever you attack yourself, do you know that whenever you punish yourself because you feel guilty, it only increases your guilt? talking about yourself, judging yourself, condemning yourself for something you did in the past that you feel guilty about is increasing your guilt. It's actually calling for more punishment and pain to come to you. Whenever you judge yourself and attack yourself or punish yourself for feeling guilty, you're not dispelling your guilt, you're actually increasing it. But most people don't know that. I want you to hear that there is a part of you that teaches you to punish yourself, attack yourself because you're guilty. Punishing yourself increases your guilt. Now, what are some of the ways that people punish themselves? Well, you can punish yourself through constant concern. You can punish yourself through worry. You can punish yourself through keeping yourself in some form of lack. You can punish yourself by being on a job that you don't like. You can punish yourself. You can punish yourself. You can punish yourself by putting yourself in a situation that you are experiencing a lot of pain in. So you don't want to put yourself in a situation that you are experiencing a lot of pain in. When you put yourself in a situation that you're experiencing a lot of pain in, then you are increasing your guilt. You are increasing your guilt. Now, just imagine that we're cruising down the street together and Spirit is giving us some instructions. Listen to me now. When you punish yourself, condemn yourself, then you are increasing your guilt. You're not decreasing your guilt. Do you know that guilt is the result of attack? Feeling guilty comes from attacking yourself or others. Feeling guilty comes from desiring to punish yourself for something you think you've done in the past. So in the ego's teaching, in the teaching of the part of your mind that believes in guilt, there is a part of your mind that doesn't truly love you, that believes that you cannot escape from guilt. There's a part of the mind that teaches you that you are guilty and you will always be guilty and that you deserve punishment. Or there's a part of your mind that believes that other people are guilty and you condemn other people and you believe that that person is just going to always be guilty. There's a part of the mind that believes in guilt, and we are talking about that part of the mind because we want to dispel it. Now listen to me. Before you say you don't feel any guilt, let me explain that if you didn't feel any guilt, if you didn't think any part of you were guilty, you wouldn't see any guilt anywhere. You wouldn't see anybody that needed punishment anywhere. You wouldn't be wanting to attack or hurt somebody else because you think they're guilty anywhere. You would not be condemning anyone else if there were no guilt in you. You wouldn't be condemning anyone else. So if you are saying that, Earl, I don't feel any guilt, but do you see anyone around you that you have any grievances toward, or anyone around you that you are condemning or judging or believing that they are bad, then you have guilt in your own mind. So that's how you will get out of denial. If you see it anywhere, it's in your own mind. If you see it anywhere, it's in your own mind. Now listen to me. When you attack, do you know that when you go off on people and when you're angry at people or condemning people, it makes your guilt real? And if something is real, There is no way to overcome something that is real. If it's real, according to A Course in Miracles, something that is real is permanent. Something that is real is eternal. Something that is real is permanent, according to A Course in Miracles. So if something is real, the Course says there is no way to overcome something that's real. All right, you still with me? Now, the Holy Spirit, which is your loving right mind, your loving right mind, it dispels your guilt. How? How does the loving right mind, how does the Holy Spirit dispel guilt? Well, the way that you dispel guilt when you have a loving mind, you dispel guilt by the calm recognition that your guilt has never been. Your guilt has never been. You've never been guilty, never been guilty. You have never been guilty. You may make mistakes, but that doesn't make you guilty. Because guilt would be acknowledging that you are not as God created you, that you are not as love created you. And love created you innocent and blameless and pure. That's how you were created. So if I love you, I'm going to say your guilt has never been. You may make a few mistakes, but mistakes are for correction. Mistakes are for correction. Mistakes are not for punishment. Punishment doesn't correct anything. Just because you punish me, that doesn't mean you've corrected my thinking. When you are looked at through the eyes of love, you don't see that person's guilt. You may see their call for love, their call for correction, their call for help, but you won't see their guilt. Your guilt has never been. No matter what you think or believe, your guilt has never been. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. I've been doing this 40 years. You're not listening to someone who just picked up A Course in Miracles yesterday. I committed myself to teaching A Course in Miracles full time as my role in the world over 30 years ago. I've worked with literally thousands of Course in Miracles students all around the world. I'm telling you that so you will know that you're not listening to somebody who doesn't know and who's not aware of the Course in Miracles. Some people I'm their teacher, some people I'm not. That's okay. It's all good. But listen to you. Those who are attuned to me and open to me, listen. Your guilt has never been. You may make some mistakes. Mistakes are for loving correction. So how would the Holy Spirit look at you? How would someone who really loves you look at you? Well, I'd look at you as guiltless. I would look at you as innocent. And I would believe it. I would know it's true. So a being that loves you, a mind that sees you, a mind that recognizes you, it doesn't see guilt in you. It doesn't see sin in you. Now, when you know that you're innocent, when you know it's true for you, when you get that you are a child of God, when you really get that, the Course in Miracles says that, do you know you cannot attack yourself? When you love yourself, you don't attack yourself. When you love yourself, you don't punish yourself. You don't punish yourself when you love yourself. When you love yourself, you don't put yourself in a relationship that is completely unsatisfying for you, that you make yourself feel unappreciated, unloved, and guilty and afraid. That's what a guilty mind does. So when you know your innocence, you cannot attack yourself, because without guilt, it's impossible to hurt yourself. Without guilt, it says attack is impossible. Without guilt, attack is impossible. Without guilt, attack is impossible. Without guilt, attack is impossible. So what does that mean? You always attack somebody after you start feeling guilty. You create an argument with someone after you start feeling guilty. When you're ready to go off on someone, you've already started to feel guilty. It says right here, it would be impossible to attack, and it would be impossible to be attacked without guilt, without guilt, without guilt. But you're not always aware that you have guilt. So how can you tell when you believe in guilt? You will find yourself condemning someone else, seeing someone else is guilty, seeing someone else is deserving punishment, seeing someone else is deserving punishment more than they deserve, healing and correction. If you want somebody else condemned and punished, that's the surefire way that you can know that you have unconscious guilt about yourself that you're not aware of. If you have no guilt, you don't want to hurt anyone. And if you have no guilt, you don't want to hurt yourself. So you really are saved. What does that mean? It means that that which created you doesn't see you as sinful or guilty. Love doesn't see you as sinful or guilty because you are a child of the Most High. You are a child of God. You are a child of the universe, so you are guiltless. Guiltless, guiltless. You are innocent, innocent, innocent. You are sinless, sinless, sinless. You are loved because you are a child of God. Now, I know that some people may not agree with what I'm saying. Do you know it's okay if you don't agree with what I'm saying? It's all right. I'm not offended. It's okay. I wouldn't be doing this if I thought everyone had to agree with me. But there are some people that are listening to me right now, and it may be you, and what I'm saying feels like a restful spiritual shower of love. And they are loving every word that's coming through me and out of my mouth. And there may be some brothers and sisters that are listening to me through their own fear, past learning, or guilt, and they would be offended by me saying that you are sinless and innocent and guiltless. But do you know that they would just be responding to what they've learned about themselves? Just like you are always responding and seeing what you've learned about yourself. And being pure, being totally pure, being totally innocent, you are totally pure. Your real self, your true self, your divine self is totally innocent. And when you know your total innocence, when you have no sense of being guilty, it doesn't make you a sociopath. If you don't feel guilty and you feel innocent, the last thing you want to do is mistreat or hurt anyone. It's the people that feel consciously guilty or unconsciously guilty that injure people, murder people, condemn people, and attack people. Those people who do those things are people who have already forgotten they are the innocent, beautiful child of God. They have no concept of themselves as being loved, lovable, and innocent. Those are the people that raise hell, are the people who already feel sinful and guilty and bad. And so what you need is someone who reminds you that you are guiltless, and being wholly pure, you are invulnerable. Are you with me? Are you with me? Are you with me? Now we're going to start the section called the Guiltless Son of God, the innocent child of love, That's what that means. God is love. Son means creation. And guiltless means without guilt, totally innocent. So this section is called the guiltless Son of God. And that's the same as saying the innocent creation of love on page 239. Do you know that the ultimate purpose of projecting on everybody around you, like when I see someone else is guilty, when I'm judging and getting angry and getting upset at someone else, do you know what I'm trying to do? I'm trying to get rid of my own guilt. So what do you mean? Okay, I don't really love myself unconsciously, subconsciously. I don't really love myself as much as I think I do. And I have a lot of guilt. And I have a lot of repressed guilt and anger and grievances. I need to get rid of it. How do I get rid of it? I project it on someone else. That's what I'll do. I'll see someone else is guilty. Someone else is guilty. Someone else is guilty. I'll see someone else is bad. I will condemn someone else. I focus on what I see that I don't like in someone else. I will project my guilt to get rid of my guilt. I will project my guilt to get rid of my guilt. I will put my guilt on someone else if I am full of guilt myself. Yet, characteristically, the ego, the guilty mind, attempts to get rid of guilt, but from its own viewpoint only. For as much as there's a part of the guilty mind, as much as there is a part of a guilty person that wants to retain guilt, you, your real self, your true self, do you know your true self finds guilt and anger and sickness and upset intolerable? The part that loves you, listen to me, the part that loves you, that part of you finds judgment of you. That part of you that loves you finds you feeling guilt intolerable. There's a part of you that doesn't ever want to feel guilty. That part of you doesn't want to keep feeling unhappy and sad and unfulfilled. Your real self finds guilt intolerable. Why do you find guilt intolerable? Why do you feel self-condemnation and not loving yourself and feeling depressed? Why is that intolerable? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you why you can't take feeling horrible all the time. I'm going to tell you why you can't take feeling guilty all the time. Because it stands in the way of remembering God. When you're feeling guilty, when you're feeling angry, it stands in the way. It blocks your remembering real love. Do you want to feel real love? Are you hungering for real love? Are you tired of that temporary special love that you can't depend on, that humans give each other? So what keeps you from remembering that you are loved, loving, and lovable? What keeps you from remembering that you are lovable, loved, and loving? Guilt, anger keeps you from remembering love, God. God is love. Love is God. It's the same thing. And the Course in Miracles says, feeling guilty and punishing yourself, condemning yourself, judging yourself, criticizing yourself, it keeps you from remembering the truth. It keeps you from remembering what love is really like. Guilt keeps you from remembering your Maker. your creator. You want to know why you don't remember God? You want to know why you may not remember the higher power that created you? You want to know why you don't know God, your creator, with total certainty? The reason why you don't know your creator is anger, guilt, and grievances and the past. All of that is guilt. So the Course in Miracles says God's pull is so strong that you cannot resist God's pull. So what is God? God is love. So let's say it another way. Love's pull is so strong that you can't resist it. You can't truly resist love. Do you know what I just said? Did you hear what I just said? The truth is, you cannot resist love. If it's real love, which is safe, real love is safe. If what you are experiencing with anyone is real love, it doesn't make you feel guilty. It doesn't make you feel angry. It doesn't make you feel threatened or jealous. And real love is something you cannot resist. If it's real love, you can't resist it. If it's real love, you can't resist it. If you can resist it, and if you feel any guilt or fear, it's not real love being expressed. So don't fool yourself into thinking you're in a relationship that's real love and you have fear and guilt and anger and jealousy and possessiveness and insecurity in it. That's fear. A special, delicious form of fear that you have in that relationship. That juicy fear. It's not a relationship based on real love. If you got jealousy, anger, and guilt and condemnation in that love, it's not love. It's not love. It's guilt. But you will not be able to tolerate that pain and guilt. Do you know why? Because the pull of God, the attraction of God, the attraction of real love is so powerful that you cannot resist it. And that's who I like to be in relationships with, are people who the pull of love is so strong with each other that we can't resist each other. We want to connect. We want to experience peace and harmony and joy with each other. So on this issue of your guilt, then, do you know that that's where the deepest split inside of your mind happens? The Course in Miracles says we have a split mind. A split mind. That means there is one part of our mind that believes we are innocent and loved and loving and lovable and free and innocent and safe and abundant and connected to our source. There is another part of our mind, according to A Course in Miracles, that is frightened, angry, guilty. It believes in separation. It believes in death. That there's a part of our mind that believes we're just separate physical bodies. There's a part of the mind that believes in vengeance. There's a part of the mind that believes in sickness and various other forms of fear. It's like there are two of us. Now, your friends and close relationships, they see the two of you. Now, you may not see the two of you, but I guarantee you, your friends and relatives and partners have seen the two yous. The you that's so sweet and so innocent and so kind and so nice. And then there's the other you. That is selfish, projects, gets angry, wants to dominate, wants to control. They see both of them. You probably don't. Because when you're in either one of those sides of your mind, the side you're in seems like the only one that's real. So the Course in Miracles says, if you are to retain and keep your guilt, and there's a part of you that definitely believes, according to A Course in Miracles, that you're guilty and you deserve punishment for the things, something you've done before. The Course in Miracles says, so if you're going to keep your guilt, if you're going to keep believing in guilt, if you are to retain guilt as your ego insists, the part of you that believes in your guilt insists that you keep your guilt, then as long as you want to keep guilt going, keep anger going, keep attack and jealousy going, you cannot be you. Because you are love. You are innocent. You are guiltless. You are spirit. You are beautiful. You are holy. You are whole. You are abundant. You are magnificent. You are a priceless treasure. So if you're going to know yourself as that beautiful being that you are, then you got to let go of your belief in anger, guilt, and grievances and separation and attack and condemnation, because that's not what you are. That's not what you are. Guilty, no good, sinful, and bad is not what you really are. That's your ego. That's the false idea you have about who you are. Do you listen to me? Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. If you keep on wanting to hang on to grievances and anger in the past and condemn other people and judge other people, then you can never be yourself. Because yourself is beautiful, yourself is holy, yourself is innocent, yourself is magnificent. So how am I going to know my magnificence when I think I'm guilty? How am I going to know my magnificence if I think you are guilty? So if I want to know myself, I've got to not identify with the part of myself that thinks I'm going to die and the part of myself that tells me a lie. I have to be willing to let go of that lying self, that lying voice that tells me that I'm guilty and tells me that I'm sinful. If I ever want to know myself as the innocent child of God that I am, if you ever want to know yourself as the powerful child of God as you are, you must make a decision, a proactive decision, that you are not going to increase your guilt by making it real and then thinking that you need to make up for it. You want to be around those beings that see you with the eyes of love, because those who see you truly with the eyes of love do not see your guilt. They see your innocence. And if you are afraid, if you are coming out of a place of anger, if you are acting from your projected guilt, so you're trying to put it on everybody else around you, the person that loves you, now listen to me, the person that loves you when you're angry, they're going to recognize that that is you calling for help, calling for God, calling for love. The Course in Miracles teaches you the difference between love and fear. The Course in Miracles teaches you the difference between what's really love and what's really not love. Because when you know what's really love and someone is trying to give you something that is not really love, they're trying to give you guilt trips, they're trying to attack you, condemn you, see you as a bad, unloving person, that's not what a person that loves you would do. So you need to learn the difference between love and guilt. Do you know that many people mistake love as being guilt and guilt as being love? There are two voices. You have two voices, and so you have two choices. There are two voices, so you have two choices. You can choose to listen to the voice that's telling you that you are a guiltless, innocent child of God, or you can listen to the voice that tells you that you are guilty, bad, sinful, and separate, you have two choices. You only have one power. According to the Course in Miracles, you only have one power that's left right now in this world. Do you know what the one power that you have left is? The one power that you have left, according to A Course in Miracles, is the power of decision. So you have to make a decision. That's your power. Make the decision. What decision do you need to make? You need to make the decision right now that you're either going to start listening to the voice for your innocence and what supports you being lovable and deserving love, or whether or not you're going to support that voice that says you are undeserving of love. Those are your two choices. So there's a part of you that's trying to persuade you that the guilty you is you. And the part of you that believes that you don't deserve love is trying to get you to project your fear, get rid of your guilt. And how do you erroneously try to get rid of your guilt? The way that you erroneously try to get rid of your guilt is projecting it on everybody else. But usually we project our guilt and our anger on the person who's most special to us, or the people who are most special to us. That's the interesting part. When I try to get rid of my guilt by projecting it on somebody else and seeing someone else is guilty, I'm going to usually do that with the persons that are closest to me. So the part of you that thinks you deserve to be punished, that part of you is going to tell you that you need to make up for that guilt instead of asking for loving correction. The wrong voice is going to tell you that the problem isn't something that's going on in your mind. The wrong voice is going to tell you that your happiness is dependent on how somebody else acts or behaves. So when your wrong voice is talking to you, it's going to project the guilt and the anger on somebody else and say that it's not in you, that what you're going through has nothing to do with you. The lying voice is going to say to you, I know you're upset, but it's their fault. If black people were different, then I would be more peaceful. If white people were different, then I would be more peaceful. If Democrats were different, then I would be more peaceful. If Republicans were different, I would be more peaceful. If my relatives were different, if my friends were different, if the city that I lived in were different, if the economy were different, then I would be happy. That is the wrong way to give yourself peace. Listen to me. Listen to what the Course says. When you project your guilt, you keep it in your mind. When you project your anger, you keep it in your mind. When you project your lack thoughts, you keep them in your mind. When you project it out on somebody else, you keep it. When you project it, you keep it. When you project it, when you project it, you keep it. When you project it, you keep it. If I see a horrible person in you, then I keep every thought of having a horrible person be me. Whatever you project, you keep it. Whatever you project, you keep it. What you see in others, you keep it. What you see in others, you keep it. So if I see you as beautiful, then I keep it. If I see you as innocent, then I keep it. If I see you as abundant, then I keep it. If I see you as a part of me, then I keep that feeling of connection and oneness with you. Whatever you project, you keep it. You keep it in your mind. Whatever you project and put on somebody else and see in somebody else, it becomes stronger in you. Listen, this is a universal law that you can't get away from. A universal law you can't get away from. A universal law you can't get away from. Whether you like it or not, what you see in others is what you see in your own mind. But here's the good news. If you were to see guilt in others and therefore you feel like that's saying that there's guilt within me, don't stop there. Don't stop there. If the guilt is in your mind, then who is the one that keeps telling you that you should keep the feeling of guilt or the belief that you are inadequate or not enough? You are the one who is the chooser. So you can choose to side with what I've said to you today. You could choose to side with the idea that you deserve loving correction. If you are feeling guilty about something, then you deserve to have your perception corrected in a very loving way. You deserve to be corrected in a very loving way. You deserve to be corrected in a very loving way. If you're making a mistake and attacking and condemning and feeling guilty or sinful about something, you deserve to have your mind healed in a loving way. You deserve to have your mind healed in a loving way. You are the chooser. You are the chooser. You are the chooser. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. You are the chooser. You are the chooser. You are the chooser. Well, I'm going to do a quick recap in just a minute. I'm Earl Purdy. I want to thank you for tuning in to this Course in Miracles class. Please share this video and watch it at least, or listen to it at least 4 times. At least 4 times. If you like to make a love offering, a financial expression of appreciation, as I am a full-time teacher, I would thank you very much for that. Just go to my website, www.earlpurdy.com, earlpurdy.com, and you can make a donation right there. This is what I do. This is my full-time gig, as being a teacher. That's what I do. And you can also use Venmo, and my email address is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. I'm available for you and me to work on a one-on-one level, one-on-one. And I've been working with people for 40 years. I believe the Holy Spirit and you and me working together could get you past any block to your happiness and having what you truly want in your heart. It's called a clarity session. And there is a financial investment involved in that. Yes. If you would like to do a one-on-one session with me, go to my website, read the details about the clarity session, and then you can book a session, self-book a session with me right from the website. And if you are open to it, listen to what I said. If you're open to it, I'm also able to use my over 40 years experience as a soul, purpose, astrologer, and numerologist. And if you haven't studied it, then you don't really know what astrology and numerology really is. And it's just another way for the universe, spirit, to communicate to us, to give us additional information to help our lives be as incredible as they are meant to be. But that's only for those who are open to it. If not, we don't have to talk about that at all, and we can still have a session. Because the Course in Miracles is the core of everything I do. Because the Course in Miracles does produce miracles. And anyone who really uses it, who really studies it, will tell you that that's true. So Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I do hardcore Course in Miracles for Course in Miracles students on Facebook Live on the Earl Purdy page, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And of course on Sundays, 1 p.m. on Facebook Live, We're right here at 1 p.m. Mountain Time on the Earl Purdy page. I have hundreds of classes on video and audio on my website, www.earlpurdy.com, and also on YouTube. So just Google me and you'll get a lot of lessons. So regardless of your financial situation, help is available. Help is available. Hundreds of classes covering all kinds of topics that I've done over the years. I'm here to be truly helpful. I really am. Now, so let's do a quick review so you'll know what to walk away with. Now listen, you can't dispel your guilt by making it real and then trying to make up for it. And if you're attacking people and going off on people, then you are not letting go of your guilt. You are increasing your guilt. Guilt is a request for punishment. So the more you see yourself as guilty and the more you see others as guilty, that's the same as saying the more you stay angry at yourself and you stay angry at other people, then you're just increasing guilt. And guilt is a request for punishment. Guilt is a request for punishment. So a person who has a lot of guilt, conscious or unconscious, they punish themselves in one way or another. So there's a part of you that teaches you to attack yourself because you're guilty. And that just increases the guilt. So don't try to reinforce your guilt or anybody else's guilt, because attack makes it real. Now, there is a part of you called the Holy Spirit. There is a part of you that is your loving right mind. And your loving right mind, it will dispel any guilt or anger. How? By the calm recognition that your guilt has never been. Who you really are is innocent and beautiful and holy. It may be hidden behind your misperceptions of yourself. So there's a part of you, there is a part of God that knows that you are guiltless and you are innocent and that you only deserve love. So how can you be safe in the world? How can you be safe in the world? Without guilt, attack is impossible. Unless you feel guilty and angry and full of grievances, then hurt would be impossible for you. Attack would be impossible for you, according to the course. Do you know you are saved because you are a child of God and you are innocent? In your truest nature, you are innocent. So stop trying to get rid of your guilt by projecting it on others. Stop trying to get rid of negative feelings about yourself by projecting it that it's in somebody else. Because the truth is, you are never going to be satisfied with feeling less than happiness and less than joy, because you know you deserve love. There's a part of you that knows that you completely deserve love. There's a part of you that is completely craving and desiring your connection with God, that's craving your connection with your source, because your source, God, is irresistible. God is irresistible. Love is irresistible. Love is irresistible. So there's a part of you that's ready for that love, and it's irresistible. You cannot resist love. You cannot resist love. If it's real love, you can't resist it. And no one who really loves you would be attacking you or judging you or condemning you or abusing you or criticizing you all the time. That is not love. That is anger. That is guilt. That is hate. So don't keep mixing up what love really is. Real love would never make you feel afraid. Real love has no fear in it. Real love, according to A Course in Miracles, has no guilt in it. So I want you to realize that you've got to change your mind about yourself if you really want to be yourself. Because do you know what your real self really is? Your real self is beautiful. Your real self is innocent. Your real self is a treasure. Your real self is magnificent. Your real self is totally, unconditionally loved. Loved unconditionally by God, by your true self. Because you are the guiltless, you are the innocent child of God. Holy Spirit, I needed this today. I really am so glad that the Holy Spirit used my body to give this message. Listen to it many times. You are my mighty companions. Would you help me by sharing my videos? I really would appreciate that. I love you, and I read all your comments, and I feel so blessed to know you. It's an honor and a privilege to know each and every one of you. I love you, and may the course be with you. I'll see you next time.